Beards and Flicks, baby.
Okay, guys, welcome back to Beards and Flicks. My name is Brad Johnson. I'm joined, as always, with Mikey D.
Episode 37.
No, that's not right.
We're getting there.
It's like 16 or 17
You're
or something
right.
like
We're not
that.
even in 20s yet.
My gosh. Today we're talking about a movie called Gossip, a movie I've never heard of. But before we get started, you had something you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I want to talk about how I was introduced to this movie. So this movie comes out April of 2000.
I'd never heard of it, by the way.
And you even texted me, you were like, this movie's very 2000s.
It's so 2000s.
And it is. All the cinematography screams.
The club scenes reminded me of Playing by Heart.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is like the late 90s.
Yeah, also. And so I'm having it's like a movie night with some
Okay.
friends.
Yeah, cool.
Go to some friend's house, and one of my friends, Ryan Tidwell, shout out to you wherever you are in the world. I don't know
Man.
if he's dead or alive. Hope you're okay.
Yeah.
He's like, I got a movie for us that no one's ever heard of. And I'm thinking, I'm a movie guy kind of, so I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I've heard of it. And just like you said, you've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
We were like, yeah, you're right. No one's ever heard of this. But you recognize all the faces on the cover.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
From stuff like obviously later after.
Yeah.
But this was
and around this time, too.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this was 2000, so most of the cast wasn't really known for anything except for Joshua Jackson because of
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek 2
Yep.
years before, yeah. And
This is the same year that James Marsden was in X-Men.
R.I.P. James Marsden's Cyclops, because he's dead.
Oh, I mean, I liked his Cyclops.
I know, but he's dead. I mean, Cyclops is dead. James Marsden's alive and well.
Yeah.
Don't fact check me on his
Yeah.
death. But yeah, so we're like, okay, well, we'll watch. And before we even start the movie, he's like, oh yeah, then the soundtrack is incredible. It's because he was like, it's very 2000s, and it was hard to find. Back then it's like, there was no streaming service.
That's true.
You had to buy the I think maybe still tapes at 2000?
Probably,
And
yeah.
CDs, of course.
Yep.
I think that was before Napster.
No, Napster
Or
was
it out?
Napster was like around the same time.
Okay, so then shortly after came pirating music.
Yep.
Which I was an advocate for. By the
I
way.
used Audio Galaxy.
So I never heard of that one.
Okay.
I would use
I
Bear
think there was a
Share.
lot of
There was a
them.
lot, and I used at least 3 or 4.
Like Pirate Bay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very on the nose.
Yeah.
We all know what you're doing on Pirate Bay. We're pirating music. Now,
That site gets shut down like every other day.
of course it did.
I don't use it anymore. I don't think it's
Yeah, I don't think you need to pirate music
It's
anymore.
just
do you?
everything's streaming.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
pay $10 a month, you get everything.
right.
But yeah, there was, back at that time, you had these soundtracks that would come out in these movies that weren't officially released, and they were hard to find these songs, or they just weren't released.
Okay.
Which is, I don't understand why you would do that.
Yeah.
If the soundtrack is great or whatever. Maybe licensing was too expensive. But anyway, we watched this movie, and by the end, we're all blown away.
Oh, okay.
We all loved it. It was like a win for the
Everybody
house.
was in for it.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
it's good that I didn't know you back then. You probably wouldn't be in our friends group anymore.
All right, so I wasn't crazy about this movie. I found it boring.
No, be real. If you hate it, you hate it. Don't say you found it.
I don't hate any movie.
You never hate a movie.
I was entertained by it.
It's frustrating that this guy doesn't hate
There-
any movie.
Is that frustrating? Listeners, let us know. I think it's safe to say that I didn't hate it, but I'm never gonna watch it again.
Fair enough.
There were times when the story kind of got blah, and there were, in my opinion, there were times when the twists and turns weren't as twisty and turny.
yeah, but see, okay. We
I
watched,
want to know why you liked it so
well,
much.
we covered Inside Man first, which had, really legit twists.
That's
so then
true.
you watch Gossip after.
So you're agreeing with
So
me.
so that was my plan, and we shouldn't have done it in that order.
Oh, okay.
I still love this movie.
Awesome.
I'll watch this movie
Well,
forever.
let's find out why.
Yeah. I like just the first 20, 30 minutes. It's just Travis, Derek, and Jones. And they're just in and out of these uptown bars in New York and the Manhattan
Well, let's talk
area.
about who those actors are.
Oh yeah, because you guys don't know.
I mean, James Marsden, from his X-Men fame,
Mm-hmm.
I've got a really small, fun little tidbit.
Are
Okay.
you best friends with him too?
No.
Okay.
My a nanny that my ex-wife and I used when Remy was really young
Mm-hmm.
was cousins with James Marsden.
Wow.
Crazy.
Another Hollywood connection. See,
All these connections.
Only you, man.
Oh, sorry. I won't start singing.
I thought you were going to go there. I was waiting for it.
Norman Reedus
Yeah.
from Walking Dead fame, Boondock Saints fame, which Boondock Saints was just a few years before this.
I think 2 or 3 years before. Maybe? Yeah.
Like late 90s.
And then right after that, I think right after this movie, he goes on to do Blade 2.
Yep.
And he's like the guy, like the sidekick that turns
Yep.
bad. And then Lena Headey.
Lena Headey, who has an American accent, and she looks like Keira Knightley the entire movie. Right?
Yeah. I love her, though.
She's great.
I would marry her.
She's beautiful.
No, I mean, like, I love her. Like, I would marry her.
Oh, like you like love her.
Yeah, I mean, but I love her acting.
Okay.
Because I loved her in Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Very short-lived, but
That's right.
I thought she did justice to the character. So I love her as an actress.
Yep.
And I love, she's my favorite character on Game of Thrones.
Yep. I think there's a few that guys in this movie.
Yeah.
That you recognize, like the professor, like you've seen. He's on Scrubs. He's the.
Okay, yeah.
Well, he has a small role in Scrubs.
Right.
He's on Scrubs a few
But he's
times.
definitely that guy, like, I've seen him in
You've
other
seen-
things before.
Yeah, he's got a very distinct, deep voice and that curly hair. And,
Yeah.
And then you have like Edward James Olmos that came in in the end of the movie.
Right.
You know, and I was like, whoa, where'd you come from?
Yeah.
You know, and
At that time, probably the biggest actor in that movie is
is Edward James Olmos.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. You're right. So you have what's his name? Joshua
Jackson.
Jackson
Yeah.
from Dawson's Creek fame.
Kate Hudson's in
Kate
this.
Hudson,
Yeah.
which kind of had a small role, and then a couple other of her friends were like noticeable faces or like
Yeah.
recognizable faces.
Right.
But has the director done anything else?
So Davis Guggenheim. I always thought it was David, but it's Davis.
Davis.
Yeah, Guggenheim. I hate guys with the first name is Davis.
He has two last names.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Davis Guggenheim. Very Jewish name, right?
1000%. So yeah, he did a lot of TV, starting out like Party of Five, NYPD Blue, ER, and then after Gossip, he went back to TV again with 24, the TV show, Alias, a really good show, The Shield, Deadwood and Numbers. And that's pretty much it.
Yep.
So you do one movie and then a lot of TV before and after.
Okay, I need to talk about the DP because this was. Did they film this on video?
I mean,
There
I
were
wouldn't doubt it.
There were so many of those like MTV angles.
So many, man.
And
So
like,
many.
You know, a lot of people call them Batman angles, but like, what was the
Yeah.
deal with
I don't know.
this movie, bro?
I think it was supposed to be because you have this like hot, young, cutting edge cast. So let's
Yeah.
go with the hot, young, cutting edge style of shooting this movie.
Right. It was
And-
edgy.
There you go.
You
Edgy
know?
was the word they used back then.
But it also looked like it was like the the FX movie of the night or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Straight to TV.
because there were so many of those camera angles like this, and like it felt like every third or fourth scene they're doing this with the camera.
yeah, and like it's the camera's swooping or like going
Yeah.
around a corner or something.
So this guy was just like, I'm gonna do everything I want
Yeah.
in this movie.
Like,
he had free reign to do
balls
whatever
out.
he wanted.
Yeah, seriously.
And maybe that's how they get down in Poland because this guy's Polish.
Okay, what's his name?
His name is Andrzej Bartkowiak.
Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. I tried.
Yeah, what else has he done?
So he did. He was the DP on Twins, Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
What?
Yeah, it's where this movie was shot. Like he's done some really big other projects with
Okay.
big actors.
Okay.
Besides Twins, he did Falling Down with Michael Douglas, Speed with Keanu Reeves.
Love that movie.
Same, me too.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that I forget about, but when I think about it, it's like it's a really good movie.
That movie's crazy, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
In the first like 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
somebody kills somebody else with a screwdriver in the ear. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes.
What?
Right. Pretty aggressive for 95. Pretty
Very
aggressive.
yeah, and I watched that movie in '95.
Yeah.
So I was like 15 or something. Yeah.
I blew you away then.
Oh
I'm
my
sure.
gosh.
Gotta
Yeah.
be one of the most painful ways to die.
I also had that score. That was a really good score.
Oh
All right,
yeah,
sorry.
it was. The First Species. Did you see that? Ever see that?
I've never seen Species.
I saw it recently for the first time, probably about a week ago,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, man, this is very 2000.
Oh.
And
Okay.
it had Tom Sizemore as the lead, so that tells you enough about the movie.
Does it still have those crazy angles?
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
No.
better camera
It's a
work.
weird movie, you know. It's about this woman who becomes an alien and she tries to have sex with a guy because she wants a baby so bad, an alien baby.
Oh,
And the baby gets born like that.
that's very strange.
Very strange.
Okay.
The Devil's Advocate,
Oh, good.
another Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. U.S. Marshals.
Oh,
the
with
sequel to The Fugitive.
That's right.
Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
And RDJ, again.
I don't remember him in that movie.
I don't want to spoil it if you don't remember.
Did I ever see that? I don't think I ever saw that.
Oh, okay. You saw The
I'm
Fugitive,
familiar with
though, right?
it. Huh?
You saw The Fugitive, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Kimbo!
I just love that line in the first one where he's like, I didn't kill my wife. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And he just jumps off into the water and he should be dead. But anyway. And Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh, okay.
So this guy did some amazing movies, worked with some
really
amazing
did.
actors. And maybe this was just the one time where he's like, this is maybe what the kids like.
I want to change it up.
I want to change it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go edgy.
Because you're right, though. Like this cast was really big for the 2000s, or the early 2000s. And the audience probably, the subject matter is gossip.
Right.
So the audience is probably going to be teens to 20-year-olds.
Yeah. 13 to 24 is the demo.
And like, if that's the demo, then in the year 2000, the camera work was really edgy. It really was.
It was. It really was.
Yeah.
I really just want to know. Well, I guess first I'll tell you why I love the movie, and it's actually hard to put into words why I love it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's because I saw it when I was 21, so I fit the demo.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, obviously now you're much older when you see this, so
I never even heard of
it doesn't resonate. Right.
I mean, it kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah.
Because like Joshua Jackson was in Skulls. Like, was it the same year?
I think the year after,
Okay,
2001.
and Skulls was huge.
Yeah.
Maybe that was 99.
I think it was 99
Yeah,
actually. You're
Skulls
right.
was huge. And they made like, what, 4 or 5 sequels?
Yeah. But none with him or Paul, because Paul Walker's also in the first
That's Paul
one.
Walker, that's right, yeah.
And they don't return for any of those. And you know, I'm a fan of not watching sequels that don't have the original cast.
Yeah, I don't ever do
Like
that.
Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Don't even, yeah.
Why?
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Jason Patrick, I think?
Is Patrick with the C, no K at the end.
Why would you do that?
Again. So I don't like first names for first names. I don't like last names for first names. I don't like Patricks that end with the C. So yeah, those are my things.
All right.
But then the writer, Gregory.
Gregory. His name was Gregory. You're probably right.
Gregory Poirier, French, I think. National Treasure, Book of Secrets. I think that was the first one, right? Or the second one?
Book of Secrets was the sequel.
Okay, so the first one to me was way better.
I think it was just called National Treasure.
Got it.
Yeah.
And the second writer, there's 2 writers on this. Teresa Rebick did a lot of TV, did only TV. Dream On, L.A. Law, NYPD Blue, After Gossip, did Third Watch, Law and Order Criminal Intent, and Law and Order Criminal Mind.
Okay.
So again, we're
I
talking
can
about,
see the influence of that kind of shows in this movie.
because they're highly stylized.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like
Detective,
cinematic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. But yeah, I can't really put into words why I love it. It's just I saw it at the age that I fit in the target demographic.
Yeah.
I
it
did
resonated with
I
you.
did love the soundtrack. Years later, I found all the songs through
That's cool.
pirating. And
I don't remember much of the music from it.
yeah, one of my favorite songs from that soundtrack, and one of my favorites of all time is Dusty Baker's version of "The Look of Love."
Oh, okay.
And that's the version that's in this movie, and also in "Catch Me If You Can,"
Oh.
which I recently saw as
The
well.
Look of Love.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
That's cool.
And so Chris Bodie, the jazz trumpeter,
Yes.
has a version, and that's my favorite version of the song.
Okay. He's good.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so it's just hard to say why, but it made me also wish I was a part of this like little trio, because they were in the beginning they're so tight knit and like they live together.
Okay, can we talk about that loft?
Yes, please let's talk about
Okay,
the loft.
how did they afford that loft?
So Derek, Jace Marsden's character, mentions in the middle of the film that he's like he got parent issues and they just send him a
His
check.
family's not talking to him.
They're not talking to him, and the reason why is because there was this scandal when he was in high school.
That's
it's
right.
involving Kate Hudson's character, Naomi.
Okay, cool.
And like this rape thing is involved.
Yeah.
So they kind of just send him a trust fund check, and he kind of goes on this little rant about here's your trust fund check,
Yeah.
Derek. You know, don't leave us alone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's how he affords this big, massive loft. Because even Travis,
Yeah.
the character, he's always like, I can't even afford to pay the rent. And Derek's like, don't worry about it, you know. I'm consider me like a patron of the arts or whatever. I'm just sharing.
Because he's an
this.
artist.
Yeah, he's an
Yeah.
artist. They're all journalism majors, but Travis has like a very like eccentric artistic side.
Yeah.
And his whole room ends up getting decorated in this imagery of like words and guns and eyeballs. And speaking of imagery, there's eyeballs like all over the plastered throughout this film.
Yep.
In the bars and the clubs and the house.
That's true. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was watching this and I was like, A, how can they afford that loft? Then I was like, man, I would like to live in that loft.
Right.
And then I was like, not with James Marsden's character.
Definitely not. So I don't know. He just looked really like thin and unhealthy.
He did look kind of emaciated.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's a good word. Wow, emaciated. Whew.
Like his face was skinny.
You went to college.
I did. In film school college.
Right.
I don't have regular college. But his face was like skinny, like his cheeks were kind of sunk in.
Yeah.
You know, like you're right. And maybe it was from filming X-Men. I don't know. Like,
right.
Because they were filming at probably the same time.
At the same time. So he's just probably just exhausted. But you're talking about a master of sociopathic and manipulation.
Manipulation is the perfect word. Like and you see it kind of like get worse and worse as the movie goes on.
Right.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like I kind of call them like the three little piggies, in a way.
These three?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because each one had like a different building of their house, right? So you have three different personality types.
That's true.
And that's where Travis, Derek, and Jones all fit in. Because you have the master manipulator. He's like the head of the household. He sleeps in the room on the top floor.
Yep.
Travis and Jones are under him.
Yep.
So there's another, I guess, metaphor, if you will. Jones is like she's not like the goody two shoes, but she's like just kind of playing it safe. She's in the library studying in the beginning, and as she's scrolling through her book, she sees the little sticky notes. You need to leave, go now, and she meets them at the bar.
Right.
And then Travis is kind of like the meek, very quiet and reserved character, and kind of sides with Derek often in this film, like kind of taking up for me. He's like, well, you're letting me stay here, so let me take up for this guy, and let me give him a chance to explain his actions, which actually does come up when Jones confronts him about going to see Naomi and knowing her, because earlier he told her that he doesn't know her, and then she goes to see Naomi and she finds out the truth, and then Travis is like, well, maybe he has an explanation why. Let him give him time to explain why he lied to you.
I think there's like a bunch of like unnecessary drama in this movie.
But which you would expect from that age group, though.
That's true, but like whenever she's at Naomi's house, and they're both drinking like what?
It's like
it's orange juice and vodka. What is that called? Screwdriver.
Yeah,
they're drinking
Speaking
screwdrivers.
of screwdrivers again.
Say it again.
Callback.
Oh my god, that was on purpose. I promise. They're both drinking screwdrivers, and like they're standing next to each other, and Lena's had Jones. Jones is like. She drops that information that it's Derek Webb, is that his name?
Yeah, because Naomi makes a comment about Plymouth.
Yes.
And then she kind of chuckles and she's like, why are you laughing? And Jones says, well, my roommate is also something about he's made fun of me for being from Plymouth. I guess because he's from this area or whatever, Danbury.
Yeah, Danbury.
She's like, oh, really? That's where I'm from. What school did he go to? Or what's his name?
Yeah.
And Jones drops the name Derek Webb, and then
Naomi drops her glass. Like, that drink was just poured.
Was that too dramatic for you?
It was so dramatic, man. Yeah. I'm just going to drop this glass right here, all over my feet.
Well, I feel bad for the PA that has to clean up that glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to the PAs that work really hard on these sets, man.
Nice.
They go through a lot. I've been a PA, so I know what it's like.
Right on.
So, okay, you have any other examples of like over dramatic moments? Because I'll give you that was kind of over the top. And the way she freaks out on Jones is
the
like...
scene in the restaurant where the girlfriend like slaps him, like she like full...
No, it's the girlfriend's friend, Sheila.
The girlfriend's friend.
Yeah, because she's protecting Naomi, who's like in the background.
Yeah. She like full head slaps Joshua Jackson.
Yeah, no, she comes like haymaker way back
for
here.
For real, like hand open, like he felt that whole hand. For real. That was super dramatic.
It was.
And
it
like,
really
he's got his constituents pulling him out into the street or whatever.
Yeah, I think that scene does stick out to me, and maybe it's because it's just over dramatic.
Yeah.
You know what? So talking about Sheila, she's the one that starts spreading the rumor.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, but I'm here for you. You can lean on my shoulder to cry on, and this and that." Like, you started this rumor.
Yeah, come on.
Like, you heard it from Jones.
Yeah.
After they had all agreed to spread this rumor, and you're the one that starts spreading it that we know of. Now, obviously, we don't see, like, because we don't see Travis ever say anything to anybody about it. But I feel like maybe it's because he doesn't really know anybody comfortable enough to tell this rumor to.
Yeah.
But later on, when they're all kind of accusing each other and this thing's taking a dark turn, Derek even looks at Travis and says, well, you spread it too, or you said it too. And I'm thinking, well, we never saw that.
Yeah.
So it could just be like another manipulation tactic.
Probably. Yeah.
But
there's so many lies being spun and so many deceptions. And
that's why one of my favorite lines, to just skip ahead right to that, is at the very end when it's revealed, the truth is revealed. And then as Jones and Travis are walking out to leave Derek to be, Derek's like, well, what's everybody going to think of me? And Travis turns around and says, well, it's only words. How bad can it be?
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What kind of class was that they were all taking?
It's a journalism course.
Journalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the journalism majors.
Yeah.
And so I have a problem with that classroom.
That classroom was baller.
It was huge.
It was
right?
huge.
Yeah. And Professor Goodwin knows everyone's name.
Yeah.
In this class. There's no way.
Giant class.
Yeah.
Also, that projector screen was like huge.
Yeah.
Also.
Like movie theater size.
Yeah, and they had cameras on tripods and it was a super cool class.
I would love to be in a class like that. I was in college for longer than I'll admit on air, but I never took a class like this in it.
No.
But I've been in classrooms that size, but not classes that
not
cool.
that fancy.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So because you did say this movie is about gossip, and I think it's a social commentary on the power of words, and I'm a true believer in that too. Like what the power of the tongue and what you say will, there's power in that.
Right.
And you can't take words back, obviously. I have a question: is a lie different than a fib, in your opinion?
A fib seems like what we would call a white lie.
So like bending the truth.
Yeah, and it's not really as important as a lie.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay. So to me, even though a fib is a white lie or it's meant to be innocent and not with the intent to harm someone, you're bending the truth. It's still a form of deception.
Absolutely.
Right? So, which also is what a lie is. It's lying to somebody is the act of deceiving somebody.
Yep.
So does that make all lies harmful?
I don't know.
In some form or fashion.
I'm going deep today.
Deep dives again.
Deep
We're back to the deep
dives.
dives. Because I believe there's a difference. There's a lie and a fib. I think the whole Santa Claus thing, it's a fib.
Okay.
It's just, you're just playing on, it's something to give kids that are imaginative something to, kind of play
Not
with.
necessarily harmful.
It's not harmful, right?
Right.
But I mean, it is deceptive.
It's deceiving, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, from what I understand, when kids find out the truth, they're not mad at their parents.
Yeah.
There's not a confrontation or a discussion.
I wasn't mad.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is it? Oh, okay, fine.
Whatever.
So that makes me wonder, and I think this is probably true, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. Are kids just more forgiving of things and easier to let things go than adults?
I think that specific thing was like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm still getting presents.
I
don't care who the presents are coming from.
Right.
Santa's not real, whatever.
Yeah. That's true. Just keep the presents. Now that we know it's my parents, I'm going to ask you guys for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you think it's probably easier.
Yeah, because
It's not just some guy that...
probably get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, so...
Oh.
No, you go ahead.
Were you ever a part of a rumor that spread like the way this did?
Not like the way this did. This was I don't want to say over the top, but I've experienced a rumor like this. I wasn't a part of it.
Okay.
But like in school or in other facilities like that, maybe in church, rumors definitely spread like this. This is totally based on
Church
truth.
gossip, man, it's got to be the
Oh,
best.
I mean that's right.
You get all
that's
the
where
tea.
you get the good deets.
Absolutely. So I have been a subject of a rumor. So I used to work at a mail processing plant.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Oh.
A mail pros.
Nope. That would have been a much better story than what I'm about to
Right?
tell.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So maybe I'll work on that story and tell it later when the listeners have forgotten. No, so I worked at a mail processing plant years ago, and I was one of the new kids on the block, basically. And one of my exes, not at the time, now she's an ex, we met on the job. We both were like the rookies, so we were just like, hey, let's just look out for each other because we're the two new people, in the job. We don't really know anybody else. Let's just stick together. So I didn't know, but like she took a liking to me like pretty early on, and I was just oblivious. I had no idea. It's an over.
Kavorka?
Kavorka, yeah. I don't have it anymore apparently because Kim. So, and so they would always partner her with this one like older guy that he knew my dad. 'Cause my dad worked there, and he really liked her, and he had a thing for Filipino women. My ex she was Filipino, and they would always work together. And he would, make advances, but she was just like, no, let's just be friends and be cool, da-da-da. And she would sit next to me on break. Like, I would already be eating my food, and she'd be asking me a billion questions. I'm like, this girl's super nosy. I'm just not thinking, like, she's trying to get to know me for that reason.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to eat my sandwich, and I have lettuce in my teeth. What do you want?
Yeah.
And so eventually we do start talking, and it becomes a thing, and people know. And so her partner, this older guy, a guy he's close to that works there also would come up to me and be like, hey, Mike, man, I heard that you stole, I won't say his name, you stole so-and-so's girl away from him, man. Why'd you do that? And he had this little smirk on his face. I'm like, bro, I didn't steal her from him. I didn't even know she liked me at first, all this and that. I'm not a homewrecker. I wouldn't steal somebody from him or from anybody. And like, he would do it in front of other people or it would just be one-on-one. I'm like, bro, you gotta relax. I didn't steal anybody from anybody. And then another guy would jump in and be like, hey, man, so-and-so wants to fight you, man. I heard he has a gun in his car. He wants to shoot you. He just walked outside. I saw him. And one week he came in, like, completely, like, shaved head. This is a white guy. So the first thing I think of is, he's about to go, what's postal? I mean, it's a post office. It's a good term.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, he's ex-military. I know he's got a gun. And he comes in looking kind of crazy. And he had like a shiner under his eyes. Like, did he get in a fight over the weekend? Like, what is going on? And so one particular day, I'll never forget, we're on break. And she walks in and sits next to me. Shortly after he walks in, sees us sit together, walk right back out, and he's exiting the building. And there's like a double turnstile where you swipe in to get out. And in between that, there's like a wall of like sheetrock or whatever. We hear like this loud bang. And then we're like, what was that? So we all go check, and there's a hole in the wall. This guy punched a hole in the wall.
What?
Because he saw her sitting next to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then another instant, he goes outside around in the parking lot, and it's like the metal like awning for the siding of the building.
Yeah.
We hear like a loud bang. Sounds like a car ran to the side of the building. He's out there just punching the wall. I said, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been my sign to be like, you know what, we don't just stop because I'm not trying to die over you.
Right.
Like, we just met, but that went on too long too. It didn't work out, but so I was a part of a rumor, and that wasn't true.
Huh.
But in a place like that where people are so tight knit and
it went pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it spread. Like, everybody was asking me about it at one point. Even my dad was like, so what's going on? I'm like, Dad, listen. So I told him what's going on. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
But that was it. But it's just like, that was the only time I've ever been a part of a rumor that I had to constantly fight and say, hey, that's not what happened. This is the truth.
Yeah.
So.
There were so many rumors in this movie.
Yeah.
Like at least 4 pretty big rumors, right?
That's true.
Because there was the one with Jones and
Dr. Goodwin. At the plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was the one that the movie started with.
Oh,
about
when they're all
Norman
at the bar.
Reedus' character.
Yeah. He's like a famous musician and supermodel's kid.
Yeah.
Raised in hotels.
Yeah, and like it got him a lot of drinks and stuff. And
right.
that was interesting.
And the chick that blew him off that night, the next day on campus, she's like all speaking to him and giving him the eye.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. He's like, what's that about?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Remember when he walked up to that girl at the bar, Norman Reedus' character?
The one who blew him off.
And he like put his hand out. He like put his hand out near her face to like shake her hand.
So awkward.
That was so awkward.
Yeah.
And like it kept cutting back, and like he was just obviously striking out.
Oh yeah.
Not
100%.
working.
That was like the first time I think they try to show you like this guy is not the ladies' man. He's not suave.
Yeah.
He's not the popular guy.
He's definitely like the introverted artist.
Right.
That's very different.
Because even the bartender's like, man, your friend's kind of a loser, huh? Like, that's super aggressive for a bartender to say. Like, your job is to make tips. You're not going to get tips talking about my friend.
Right.
So that's why Derek goes on and tells this fib. So easily.
And that's kind of when you learn about who Derek is.
Right.
Right?
because he was so easy for him to just come up with that on the fly.
Right then and there.
Gives you enough detail to make you kind of believe it or make the bartender believe it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, they cut to later in the night, and because the bartender gives them drinks, like, oh, these are all in the house.
Yeah.
And then
more people show up. And
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's scary for people that can lie that well. And then there's a scene later, one of my favorite lines, where Derek even tells Jones, see, the problem is I lie better than you tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, but the way he said it was like he was bragging.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you bragging about lying better than someone tells the truth?
I think somebody like that just can't speak the truth. So
Yeah.
like there's a whole bunch of braggadocious things and
Right.
just lies.
And I think it's like a sociopathic tendency.
Absolutely.
And a little bit narcissistic in a way. And for him, it keeps things interesting and not boring.
So this the year 2000, Brittany Murphy, rest in peace, and Reese Witherspoon were considered for the role of Naomi Preston, the Kate Hudson role. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Maggie Gyllenhaal were considered for the role of Jones. How different of a movie would those cast member changes be?
So, okay, that kind of goes back to what I said about Jones, how she's kind of like the innocent
Yep.
character type. And at that time, Jennifer Love Hewitt was, I guess, kind of seen as like the
innocent.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The goody-goody.
Unassuming, right.
Yeah. But Reese Witherspoon as Naomi Preston would be interesting.
She would have done a really good job as that in
I
that
think so,
role.
too.
Yeah, because I think she'd just come off of Fear a few years before that with Mark Wahlberg, and she's the young, innocent, unassuming victim.
Yeah.
So that would have been basically the same character again.
Yeah. Lena Headey, James Marsden, and Norman Reedus were all in their late 20s when filming this movie. Out of the main cast, only Kate Hudson and Joshua Jackson were in the typical college student age group.
Wow. And I love hearing stories like that because I remember when I found out Rachel McAdams was 28 when she shot Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And, I think...
Way older than
the other girls in the
Yeah.
movie, yeah. So and she, to me, played it the best.
Yeah. That's a funny movie, man.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This movie made college seem kind of cool.
Yeah, my college wasn't this cool.
Never. You went to film school.
I went to film school and it was not this cool.
No.
The university that the students attend was also used as the setting for several other films, including Urban Legend, The Skulls. Coincidentally, all three films starred Joshua
Jackson, yep. That's crazy. So are you familiar with the area that these bars and clubs are that they go to in New York?
Nope.
So it's called the Meatpacking District.
Oh, okay, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so that's like the... So as soon as they said that, because I guess I never caught that part until I watched it recently, but over the years watching this movie, I always just thought, I guess because of the cinematography and like this, it always seems overcast.
Yeah.
I always just thought Seattle, and it's raining a lot, so I always
Raining
thought
in that
Seattle.
ones, yeah.
So then I hear Meatpacking District, it's like, oh, that's definitely New York.
Yeah.
Some area in Manhattan.
Yeah.
But and I've heard stories about like these types of areas, these industrial areas in these like major metropolitan cities, that they have these like underground clubs and bars that like the elite, like who's who go to.
Yeah.
And Meatpacking District usually are the type of areas that these places are. There's like a actual factory next door to the bar or the lounge, and they'll be there till sun up, and then they go do whatever.
Or like these clubs were like old rundown warehouses that aren't being used anymore.
Right.
And they like, the lighting's really cool, and then, there's like holes in the windows and stuff.
Yeah. The first rave I ever went to looked just like that.
Oh, that's crazy.
I remember I got the...
Where?
Like somewhere between Tyler and Hawkins.
Okay.
And so my friend sent me the address, and I'm like, this is like way off the grid. And I get there, and I'm like, there's no way you can find this place without directions.
Yeah.
Like specific directions.
Yeah.
And you get there, and it's just like, there's no designated parking spot. You just park like in the grass or wherever. So it's chaos in the parking lot. And I remember thinking, I want to leave before this thing's over because I'm never going to get out. And then you get inside, it's like a barn. It's like a makeshift DJ setup area. And I said, this is what raves look like? I'm never coming back.
Yeah, right. Good
But
place
it
to
was
get
an experience.
murdered.
Real fast,
Yeah.
yeah. Not going to the bathroom by myself in there. So
As my dad would say, it's a good place to get stabbed.
yes, your dad is very accurate on saying that.
All right, so do you have favorite scenes?
Yeah, so I do. Favorite scene? It's when Naomi freaks out over hearing Derek's name. And it's not because of its being so overdramatic. It's what happens after moving forward in the film.
Yeah.
it's when we start to see characters go go down steps,
Oh,
descending.
okay. So like the Joker.
Yeah, so everything up until that point, characters are only going up steps.
Interesting.
Like things are looking up, right?
Yep.
And then once that name's dropped, you start to see a mix of both, but it's very prominent that people are going down steps.
Especially James Marsden character, because he comes in from that roof.
The side
access.
entrance, like up there, yeah.
Like up to his like area of the loft or whatever.
Right.
And he sees Norman Reedus and Lena Headey in the bar area.
Yes.
Or the kitchen area. There was ungodly amounts of alcohol in that
So much.
loft.
And then at the end, when
He like breaks all of it.
things are really falling apart, and he's like trying to find a drink. Like all those bottles are empty. There were at least 20 different types of alcohol bottles there.
Bro, and he was always the one that was making. James Marsden was always the one making drinks and handing out drinks and
Yep.
stuff. So probably all his alcohol.
Just another part of his manipulation, like control over them. I mean, because you think about it, if I had this super nice loft and I allow you guys to stay here, at some point you're gonna ask something of them,
Yeah.
of that person,
Yeah.
because like, well, you're not paying anything, and he tries so hard to hook up with Jones
Oh my gosh!
in this movie.
Yeah,
That was really
And it
creepy.
seemed like she regretted it after they hooked up.
But the next morning,
Yeah, she
she's
was like-
thinking it over in her
She
pajamas.
was pulling a cigarette out,
Yeah.
and you could tell she was not. She didn't happy. She wasn't happy about it.
At all. And I mean, she was basically coerced into saying yes and all this and that. And it kind of ties back to the girl he's trying to hook up with in the bar in the beginning. When he sees Naomi and Bo in the other room.
Oh yeah.
He's about to hook up with this one girl, but she's feeling sick. I really thought, as sleazy as this guy was, I'm surprised he didn't, rape her.
Yeah.
Or take advantage of her.
Right.
But he actually was trying to take care of her and this and that. By the way, this is a bar, and as soon as they walk in, there's just martinis galore to just
Yeah.
pick up and drink.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm never trusting just open drinks.
No, there'd be roofies in all those drinks.
Exactly, yeah. And then, so they go up the steps, and Derek and this girl start making out. And they go into this nice bathroom that's connected to this nice bedroom.
Yeah.
Who's living up above this
For real.
bar that they could just let you walk in the...
Yeah, I said the same thing when I saw that. Yeah.
So it's just all this craziness. And then, of course, they don't show the viewer what happens with Bo when Naomi passes out.
Right. So we don't know.
But they show you leading up to it that he's trying to have sex with her, and she keeps saying no. You can tell she's really drunk. And eventually he just kind of leaves her there. And then they show Derek watching over her, which is really creepy too.
Yeah, that was a creepy. There was a lot of things he did that was creepy.
Yeah.
They would just show him doing creepy.
Kind of just like lingering,
Yeah.
just in the eyes.
Yeah.
And then I almost called him Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Bo walked down the steps, and his friends were like, "Oh, so basically, did you hit that or whatever?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, guys, a guy would never." Like, he leaves it like open-ended, like he doesn't say yes or no. Which, just I know it's guys being guys, but just tell them what happened.
Yeah.
Because it saves you so much trouble later on down the line if you just tell the truth.
Yeah.
But and it goes back to telling the truth and what's not truth. So the next morning they decide to start this rumor. It's Derek's idea. Jones wants to do it, but is kind of apprehensive.
She's curious about the idea.
Yeah, but she has a thing against rich people.
Right.
And Derek uses that as to influence her to say yes.
Yeah.
And then Travis just kind of goes along with it because he thinks, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah. I have a problem with the scene where she goes to the cops.
I do too.
Because she goes, I think I was raped. Immediately goes to, I know I was raped.
Talking about Naomi.
Yes.
Yeah.
That scene, first of all, don't go to the cops and say you think you got raped.
Right. That was the thing I
You gotta
noticed.
know.
Yeah, you have to know. And if you don't know, if you're going to accuse somebody,
Yeah.
then I was looking at the cops and I'm thinking, the cops should do a rape kit test on her. And I don't think they ever did that. They just took her word for it, and next thing you know, Bo's in handcuffs, escorted off campus. Why wasn't there a rape kit test done?
Yeah.
Like, that's what the first thing the cops should have done. But yeah, so Naomi's just kind of believing what she's hearing and not going to Bo for the truth until after she's heard all these rumors and now all this stuff's in her head. She's already freaking out. And so then eventually Bo just kind of say, well, maybe I led, some guys believe that we did, but I promise you nothing happened. But at this point, Naomi is an emotional wreck. And little do we know at this point it's because it's happened before in high school with Derek. So she's like, this is happening all over again, which leads to one of my other favorite scenes where Derek shows up at Naomi's apartment and basically just to
Man.
just to gloat.
That scene is really good.
Yeah. So what's one thing you do like? Okay.
That's one thing I do
like. We're
like.
there.
Because like it propelled the story, and it really shed some light on some things.
Yeah. Yeah, because he basically says, well, it was me again. And he says, now we're even.
I was like, is she recording this? Like I thought she had like a recorder in her hand because you couldn't see her like waist down.
Yeah.
And she was like facing away from him. But man, I thought she was like setting him up.
Yeah.
To get the like.
I never even thought about
confession
that.
or
But it's
whatever.
funny because that's eventually what ends up happening anyway.
That is what happens.
Just on a grander scale. Because,
Which that shocked me. That scene was
pretty
good.
Good. See, I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if Brad's gonna put the pieces together because they kind of allude to it, but they kind of don't.
Well, what shocked me the most was that I thought Edward James Olmos was actually like a detective.
Yeah.
And there's that one scene where James Marsden walks by Naomi's room after she had been presumed dead, and you see Edward James Olmos laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. He wouldn't be on a murder scene on his phone laughing.
Right.
And that's when I kind of got tipped off.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And then my thing was, if you're implicated in this woman's murder, why are you even going back to the scene of the crime?
Yeah, right.
He walks right by there. The cops are in there.
I was like, you should not be going down that hallway. And you know that one girl sees him.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like blows it, blows him off and goes inside their apartment.
So if you really want to pick this movie apart, you definitely can do that. And then and then it's just like, oh, this movie's not even, it's bad. But I like it, I guess, just for what it is on the surface. It's about a rumor. It's just it's a game of telephone gone wrong.
I mean, that's right. That could be the movie poster tagline right there.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like a TV movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like no budget behind this. It was $24 million budget.
What?
Yeah, but it only made 12.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Did not do well.
No, but I'm surprised that the budget was that much.
Yeah. I wonder if it even went to DVD.
Bro, I have the DVD.
Oh, it's true. So you got the one DVD?
I got the one. It's probably from Hastings.
Yeah.
Dude, the DVD was so old. It was the one where you had to like pop open the side.
The side snapped?
Yeah. And like I told you the other day, I said, okay, I'm going to watch this movie. Found the case. I was so excited. And let it sit on my couch for a couple of days. I was like, I want to wait until it gets closer to recording time to watch it. Watch this movie. Well, I was going to watch it Thursday night. Open the case. Case is empty.
Oh, man.
So I said, I bet it's in my old bedroom closet in my parents' house.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and paid the $2.15 for it on Amazon.
Yeah, it was like a $2 rental on Amazon Prime.
It's $2, yeah. Because I think you were like, it's $2 to rent. And
yeah, and it was DVD quality.
Absolutely.
It was not an HD.
Yeah.
It said HD, but it wasn't HD.
was that even seven? It's not even 720.
Yeah.
It's like 360.
Yeah.
P?
Yeah.
So but this movie for me, I'll always just look at it and it's just a fun movie to enjoy.
That's awesome.
There's not a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
And so I'll even admit that it's not a lot of layers to any of these characters. They're all pretty much one-sided.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of like wishy-washiness with some of the characters.
I do like that there was actual character development with James Marsden his character. Because you saw him go from bad to worse. Like it's not like good to bad. It was bad to worse.
Yeah, because eventually he's trying to pin the so-called murder on Travis. He's like, hey man, take this picture of Naomi, say she gave it to you because you're into art, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And the whole time, like as the viewer, he's trying to set him up, and you're just hoping that Travis isn't dumb enough to fall for it.
But that shocking scene at the end would be worth it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's one of those shocking scenes. You're like, oh well, I don't need to watch this movie again.
That's true.
Because I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it doesn't have the genius of like some of M. Night Shyamalan's movies,
right?
Where even though you know the twist, you'll still watch.
Yep.
So
I mean, there's no other scenes that are like really rewatchable scenes except for that scene. There's a lot of scenes that have a lot of dialogue and a lot of setup.
Right.
And then there's that punch at the end.
That is true. There's a lot of exposition in this movie, for sure.
That's the word. That's the fancy word.
But we're talking about favorite scenes. There's not that many, but I do like when Edward James Olmos first shows up as the so-called detective.
Yeah.
Because you start to see Derek a
Unravel.
little flustered. Yeah, unravel, exactly.
Yep.
And trying to figure out. And he just went to see Naomi the night before. They had this little tiff, and she scratched his face and bit his hand.
Man.
And
left a lot of teeth marks on his hand.
So many. It was like perfect.
She got a lot of teeth.
Kay got the horse mouth, man. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And so in the end, it's revealed that Edward James Olmos is, I think, a driver for, is it somebody's driver?
Yeah, somebody's driver.
Yeah, I think Joan says it's like somebody's driver for
Yeah.
somebody that she knows. But for him to pick up on the scratch and the teeth marks,
Yeah.
you're a pretty good detective for not being one.
Yeah, right?
I was so shocked by that.
That one scene with the big shocking reveal moment, I was like, why is the professor there?
Right? He didn't need to be there.
No.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think maybe because, there's that second or third time they show them in that class.
Yeah.
He's like, this class will be televised, and Revolution will be televised.
Yeah,
And he points
which
the
is a
camera.
famous line. Yeah.
And then in the end, the camera comes on, and it's someone's
Yep.
being recorded. So maybe he was involved with it. Maybe it's his camera. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because he would have to have permission to use.
I figured it was Travis's equipment and stuff. Because he had that room with all his TVs,
Yeah, yeah.
which was a very artsy thing to do.
Right.
Like not just paint or whatever. It's more media, like multimedia.
Right. But in that big reveal scene, one of my favorite lines, as he's walking out, he says, "I'll see you at the plaza," because he knows about the rumor with him and Jones.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool payoff.
Yeah, it was good.
So he's just playing along with it too.
Yeah.
The first time Jones confronts Derek in front of Travis about him knowing Naomi and whether he does or not, I like that scene because that's the first time we see real tension in this tight-knit group. And it's almost like, oh, you're watching the family fall apart or break apart. And Travis is kind of like, I don't really know where to fit in. I don't know what to say here. I'm just kind of watching mom and dad fight almost.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of the alpha, the mother, and he's definitely the alpha male. And he's kind of just there in between. And there's a scene he says in that first bar scene after, there's that rumor about him being supposedly Mick Jagger's kid or whoever, and it's time for them to leave. And I think Jones goes up to him and she's like, "Travis, ready to go?" He's like, "I'm just having a conversation with gravity," or something like that. Because he's super drunk and can't get up.
Yeah.
Some of this dialogue, man, I was like, whew, this is rough.
It's crazy. Yeah. You talked about the soundtrack earlier, and James Marsden performs one of the songs in the film.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest to find. I wanted to just hear how it sounds, and he's not bad as
Decent.
a singer. Yeah.
Kate Hudson almost dropped out of this cast to star in Almost Famous, which is a fantastic movie.
Wow.
Came out the
Huge
same
movie.
year.
Yeah. And I got to go back to this whole thing could have been avoided if the cops had tested Naomi. The whole thing could have been avoided.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through arresting because, like you said, at first she's not sure, but then Sheila's whispering in her ear, so she's kind of gossiping now to her friend about what Bo did because she doesn't know. She just heard this, and then she goes to the cops because she thinks that it happened. If the cops had tested her, this whole thing could have been avoided. The whole second half, this whole dramatic, let's try to entrap Derek into admitting guilt and this and that. You didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
If the cops had just done their job.
Yep.
I did like all the different overlap of voices as the rumor spreading in the beginning.
Sorry.
Oh,
I read something that's good.
Yeah, I want to hear it then. Yeah.
Oh, okay. When the police are searching Naomi's apartment, Edward James Olmos was talking on the phone to his son while laughing for the shot of the interior. Interesting, huh?
Yes. I wonder why they even allowed that.
I don't know.
Because, like you said, it stands out for the wrong
It definitely
reasons.
stands out.
Yeah.
It tipped me off.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I have to call Guggenheim on that one. Be like, why?
Yeah, Guggenheim.
Movies make the libraries look like the best place to be. I would hang out at the library at this school.
Yeah.
And I'd maybe have gone to the library 3 or 4 times in my college career, and it was a career. But these New York movies, man, they make the libraries look amazing.
Look really cool.
With a little
Yeah.
green shade. Ghostbusters has done it. A ton of other movies have done it. I want
Yeah.
to go to the library in New York, man. Learn, read.
Oh, okay, this is interesting. The scene with Naomi and Bo in the bedroom was originally much longer, and Naomi was much more open to the idea of intimacy. The scene was later reshot and shortened after test audiences felt a woman who had been raped would not be so willingly dominated, even while under the influence of alcohol.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That's what's cool about test audiences,
Yeah.
right? you're in Hollywood and they show like a free screening of something, and you go check it out, and like they talk to you afterwards and like, hey, what did you like? What didn't you like?
Right.
Or whatever. That's where test audiences really come in.
I agree.
Cool. That's it.
I don't have much like for me. Like I said, this movie was just a fun movie. There's not a lot really to unpack with this film. It kind of is what it is. It lays it all out there for you. You get all your answers pretty much. But I just like it because I think I was part of that target demographic, and they got me. It worked on me.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
well, I appreciate you introducing me to something that I've never even heard of before, and I didn't completely hate it. I know that in the beginning of the pod that I said that I hated it. There are some things that I thought were interesting, and it's that shocking moment at the end that I enjoyed.
yeah, for me, that's what it does too, because the movie can be great for the first 90 minutes.
Yeah.
If your last 5 minutes fall flat,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be a memorable movie for me either. I'm not gonna recommend it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, this movie was only 91 minutes, so.
Okay, so the first 84 minutes then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this was Gossip.
Gossip away.
Thanks for listening.
Later.